Hey YouTube, welcome back to Payson's Garage. It's been a while. I kind of got sidetracked from some of the projects I was doing here in the garage. I'll show you real quick. I kind of got back into the RC thing and I went a little overboard. Messing with cars for the last year or so, rebuilding, buying, selling, whatever. But anyways, I wanted to do an update, kind of show you guys what I've got going on in the garage. A lot of people have been asking about my Merkur. Talk a little bit about that. Plus, the main reason for this video is we're going to climb under the back of it in a minute, and we're going to replace the excuse me, we're going to replace the rear diff mount. I'm running solid aluminum rear beam bushings, and I just got a solid rear diff mount from a gentleman by the name of Sheldon Marra. He owns it's MarraSport over in Salt Lake City. I met Sheldon a couple of years ago. I drove over and bought some parts from him. Real nice guy. He's an excellent fabricator also. But anyways, he just came out with a new solid mount, and I thought in this video, after I do a quick update on what I've been up to, we'll climb under the car and we'll get that rear diff mount changed out. So let me go ahead and flip the screen over so I can see where the hell I'm walking around and show you guys what I've been up to and give you a little bit of update. Alright, so I got interest in just about everything. Snowmobiles, jet skis, motorcycles, and this year I got into quads. So this is a Raptor 660 that I just picked up a few months ago. I finally got this thing pretty much wrapped up, buttoned up, into where it's rideable. This thing's been a lot of fun. A couple times I've taken it out. So that's something I've been working on. In addition to that, I've got several bike projects. Here's a box of parts. This is actually for a Yamaha PW80 that I've had for years. We got the engine for that up on the bench. Starting to get it back together. I also just picked up a couple of Suzuki 250R quad racers, 1986 models. So I got the carb from one of them on the bench. I'm rebuilding that. One of the big updates that I'm doing to my Merkur, if you guys have watched my other videos, you know that I have I got the Willwood set up on my front, and I decided to go ahead and do the Willwood setup on my rear. So aluminum hat, the steel rotor obviously, and then a cable actuated Willwood park brake and a 4-piston caliper for the rear. So that's a little bit of what I got on the bench there. We got a 2.3 on the stand here. I need to flip that over and drop the rods and pistons out of it because I'm going to put ARP rod bolts in that one. So I need to get the rods up to the machine shop and get the bolts put in and have them resize the big end. Let's go outside here. It's dark, so I got all the lights on. Hopefully you guys can see. Here's my two quads that I just picked up, and these turned out to be projects. And admittedly, I didn't know anything about Suzuki quads when I bought these, and come to find out, this is the swing arm off of one of them. Come to find out, there's a design flaw in the first 2 years. The damn bearing carrier on the swing arm is a shit design, and they break. So turned out both swing arms were broken. I've got a aftermarket steel swing arm coming for one, and I'm still trying to get one of the original swing arms repaired. They both run. All in all, not too bad of shape. Plastics are over there, tires, but yeah. So I've been working on these. That's been taking up some of my time. Kind of dark, but I got a few bikes over there that are still on the list to be worked on. There's a KX250, an old KX80, and a YZ100. Underneath the tarp here is a Sea-Doo HX. So I live in northern Nevada. Lift that up. I live in northern Nevada, and in the springtime, river that runs through town fills up and we can jet ski in the river. So I've had this for a number of years, and it needs some work. I've been trying to get that done. That one's been kind of sitting. I just picked up this stand-up 550 from a buddy of mine at work. Got it running, put a new hood seal on it, a couple other minor things, and it turns out the pump was shit, so I got to put a pump in that thing. And then that right there is just a parts Sea-Doo, another HX for parts. I got my 87 Ranger right there that we're going to do a turbo swap. My 18-year-old, he's interested in helping me put that together, so As soon as I can drag him out of the house, or as soon as he comes out here to help, we'll be working on that. This is a deal I actually just made today. I just got this tonight. Local guy in town, we did a swap. But this is an 86 YZ125. Starting to pull it apart. It needs it runs, but it needs some work. So I'm going to go through that and start working on that. Oh, let's see. Just picked up another 2.3 engine. I kind of misunderstood the ad. I thought it was actually a complete assembled short block, but the guy actually completely tore it down in anticipation of doing a rebuild. So I think I'm going to get that dropped off at my local machine shop and then probably have him assemble just the short block for me. Get the rotating assembly in and make sure everything's good. So I got that going on. That engine actually I picked up because I've got a 1989 Merkur Scorpio that I want to do a 2.3 turbo swap. It's a 5-speed car, so I thought that'd be pretty cool. Right there's the engine out of the HX. So like I said, I got to get that back in. And there's a whole series of steps you got to go through to get the engine lined up with the drive shaft. So, be honest with you, I don't know if I'll really do much more with these jet skis this year. I've got a Yamaha Wave Blaster 2, real nice, clean, original, and that's what I ride. So I've been rode on the river a few times this year, but river level's gone down, so riding's done. So now it's back to these projects. So on to my Merkur. I did a number of videos. I don't think I did any videos since I pulled the head. So unfortunately, I'm the type that can never leave well enough alone. So my head builder, he actually came out with a better cam, and I couldn't just drop the cam in. I needed to pull the head and get it over to his shop so he could verify clearances. So the head is actually okay, this right here is a bare head that came with that engine I just bought. I need to put that back together. And right there in the plastic is my Beauport Stage 4 head with his 2.5x cam. So that's ready to go back on my Merkur. So that needs to go in. And I'll be honest with you guys, I kind of got discouraged, and I haven't touched this thing in over a year. So what ended up happening was, if any of you guys are into the 2.3 game, you might know of a name, Bean Man. It was a guy on, he was on the forums, and he made headers for these 2.3 turbos. So I had a Bean Man header. I had that all set up. Downpipe was run, all good to go. Well, like I said, I'm the type that can't leave well enough alone. So I went ahead and upgraded to one of Beauport's headers. Actually, my turbo header sitting right there. And extremely high flowing header. Bo made really good power. I think he made over 600 horsepower in his SVO with his head, his intakes, his header. So yeah, so like I said, I can't leave well enough alone, so I went ahead and upgraded to the Beauport header. I sold my Bean Man, mount the header in here, and I was all set up to run a Ranger alternator mount. So my alternator would have been right here. Which there's a guy on eBay that sells. He's got a really good deal on high output 3G alternators. So that's what I got right here, brand new. Brand new or brand, I can't remember. Reman or brand new, I can't remember what it is. But anyways, so that was my plan. I was going to run the Ranger alternator mount, which actually I can show you. I actually put it on this block because with the Beauport header, with the Ranger alternator mounted in the stock location, the alternator hits the header. So I've been using this block here to try and make a plate so I can essentially lower the radiator, I want to keep saying radiator, alternator mount down. And if you see here, I actually had the back of the mount machined off flat because I had to space this plate out. But anyways, I've been working on this, and it's kind of stumped me because I got it in the spot where it's going to clear the header, but now the mount is hitting one of the hard lines on the steering rack. So that's another issue I got to solve. So that slowed me down or stopped my progress on the car here. And then what else was there? Oh, okay. It was that, and then I decided to finally go ahead and install my bell housing adapter. So I think in one of my previous videos I had mentioned I'm actually running a 5.0 bell housing with a Mustang 5.0 clutch. I've got the 2.3 bolt pattern spec flywheel on there, so I got the larger clutch. The idea behind that is more clamping force. A lot of guys making high horsepower running the 4-cylinder clutch, they have issues with clutch slippage. So, and as you can see, that really kills your room for running a downpipe. So the two things there, installing that, like I said, I already had the exhaust on. I already had this was all done, set up, everything was ready to go with the old Bean Man header, and then of course I go and upgrade parts, and it changed everything. So the downpipe routing and the alternator mounting, it really kind of kicked me in the teeth, so to speak, and just kind of set me back. So it just really got discouraged, and to be honest with you, I just kind of lost interest and walked away from everything for a while. But I want to get back into it now, because what really got me motivated is I just finished building an 88 XR for my youngest. He turned 16 at the beginning of the year, and he just actually got his license Wednesday. Yeah, he just got his license on Wednesday, and his first car is an 88 Merkur XR4Ti, just like this. Well, this is an 87. He's got an 88. We trailered it home last year. I don't know if I did any videos on it. Let me flip this around here. I don't know if I did any videos on it, on his car, but there's a guy I know over in Reno, and I bought the car from him. We drug it home. Worked on it best we could through the summer, but man, it was hot, and it was sitting outside. So we did the best we could on that last year. Basically went through the car front to back. It's got Coney shocks and struts, lowering springs, all poly bushings. I did the solid rack mount bushings. We did the bearing on the steering shaft. That's the first car I've actually had on the road that I've done those mods on, and it's really a worthwhile upgrade. Let's see, I don't think what we did. Like I said, we basically went through the whole thing front to back. I think it's got new tie rods, tie rod ends. We did the rear disc brake conversion and the Ford Focus front disc upgrade. Guys, if you don't know, any of you guys that are into the Merkurs, there's a gentleman by the name of Tim Spencer. You can find him on Facebook. He has got the brakes. He has got brake kits figured out for these cars. He's the one that helped me put together, not helped me, I mean he had all the information. He's the one that sold me the Wheelwood kits front and rear on this car. On my son's 88, he's the one that came up with the updated Focus kit, front and rear for those cars, so you can run a more modern brake, parts more readily available. And I tell you what, that's another upgrade. Be honest with you, that's the first Merkur I've had on the road that I've driven that I've done a rear disc brake conversion on. All the cars I've had up to this point, I've just left the rear drums in place. That's an excellent update. Definitely worth taking the time to do that. So my son's car, so back to that. So it's a 5-speed car. We just got a stock T9 in it. Like I said, we did the rear disc upgrade, so it's got updated brakes, did all the poly bushings, Coney struts and shocks, lowering springs, did the steering rack bushing mounts, did the steering shaft bearing update. It's got the shorty aluminum radiator, and it's got the aluminum intercooler mounts on top. Actually, it's one just like this. I got one sitting on the floor here for another car. Let me grab it. So one of these, got one of these intercoolers in his. We went through and we gutted the interior, put a new headliner in it, cleaned up the carpet. So the interior is really nice, and it went through all the panels, cleaned everything up, repaired anything that needed to be repaired, put in a new stereo for him, new speakers. I don't think if there's anything else. And I told him the body's not bad. It's a rust-free car, but it's got some dings and a weird rust spot over on the passenger door, which I do need to address eventually. But sorry about the camera guys here. I'm just talking away. And anyways. So about the only thing left would be painting the car, and I told him if he wants to put the effort in, and he's out there helping me 100% of the time, excuse me, we'll just do a quick scuff, fill the dents, and we'll build a makeshift paint booth outside the garage here, and we can just paint it outside. But to be honest with you, I doubt he'll come out and help me with that. But so anyway, so the whole point of that, telling you guys about that car, was that's got me motivated, because I put that car on the road 3 months ago now, and I've been driving it, and I've just been having an absolute blast with it. A little bit about that engine, I didn't mention anything. So when we got it, pulled the head, valve seals were good, but we did valve springs, put in a Ranger roller cam. I believe it's got stock intakes. I'm trying to think. Yeah, just stock exhaust manifold. It does have an upgraded T3 turbo, manual boost controller. It's got a blow-off valve, new water pump, new seals, new gaskets. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, new clutch. So engine's solid. It's actually got a working gas gauge and temp gauge in it, which is nice. So yeah, it's a nice solid car. Definitely a good first car. He loves it. Like I say, and he just got his license the other day. I think today was his second day driving himself to work. So anyways, like I say, the whole point of that was I've been driving that for a few months, and I've been just loving it. It's so fun to drive. It handles really well. Not super fast. I mean, it's just, like I say, other than the intercooler, it's stock, but it's just a fun car to drive. So that's got me motivated. So if you guys watch my other videos, I've got this 87. Let me flip this around again. This is just my, it's what, full effort, no cost, no expense spared build, let's call it that. And I've just been working on this for years, and it's been on jack stands too long. So doing that work on my son's car has got me motivated. So I'm going to start on this again. And like I said, other than just doing the update, we're going to jump into the car here in a minute, and we're going to get that rear diff mount changed out. And like I say, Sheldon MarraSport in Salt Lake City, he's the gentleman that's making this new solid mount. I think other than that, our only options these days are getting a copy of the MC squared mount out of England. So okay, well, let me set this little tripod up, and we'll get under here. I was under there earlier, so like I mentioned a minute ago, I'm running the solid aluminum beam bushings. Normally when you loosen up, let's put this down here. Actually, I'll flip this around and get the camera again up for a second. Just lift it up. Why are you upside? Okay, there it goes. So normally when you loosen or remove the rear diff mount, the whole rear beam will drop down. But because I'm running solid aluminum beam mount bushings, my beam doesn't do that. So I'm trying to get this diff mount off without having to completely drop the rear beam. I had to cut a Allen wrench down earlier because the two rear bolts that go into the back of the diff cover, they're Allen heads. So I cut an Allen wrench down, and I think I'll be able to get that in there and get that upper bolt out without having to drop the whole beam. So that's essentially where I'm at. I had to drop the... I'm still running the gas tank shield on mine, so I had to drop that and get that out of the way. I got my jack under there holding the tank up. You can see the straps right there. I've got the straps dropped down. So, okay, like I said, let's get under here. So I can get this camera in a spot where you guys can see what's going on. Let's see, I can lift you guys up a bit. So a couple of my last videos, I made the video and I did very little editing. I'll be honest with you guys, a couple years ago or a year ago, whenever the hell I was posting more videos. My son, no, it was actually 2 years ago. He's been gone 2 years now. 2 years ago, my son was here and he was helping me do the editing. He moved away, working with a buddy of his. They started a company. They're extremely busy, and I lost my editor. And you can see all the projects I've got. I just don't have time to do a lot of editing. So I am probably going to just pull this video off my camera here and throw this thing up on YouTube. So you get what you get, guys. So anyways, right there is the rear diff mount. This is the MC squared version 2 mount. He went to the round style insert and the round style bushing. So unfortunately, what I hear from a lot of guys online, the bushing material, it's a lot thinner, and guys are tearing up these bushings. MC squared I know one of them was going to law school, so I don't know. I don't know if they're ever going to return to running their business or if they're completely done. But I understand both the gentlemen have other things going on right now. So MC Squared at this point is no more, and you can't get their mounts anymore. So like I said, the only option is MC Squared's version 1 mount. One of the companies over in England copied the design, and you can order them from there. I was just talking about my son a minute ago that was doing the editing. So they're doing some fabrication work and designing some things. Well, anyways, because of that, they ended up buying a CNC mill, and they're getting a CNC lathe delivered. I think next month is when that's supposed to be delivered. So anyways, I've been talking to them, and we might talk about maybe designing a new type of a mount that's got some kind of a bushing in it. Like I say, the one we're going to put in tonight is a solid mount, and from what everybody says, they don't recommend running the solid diff mount unless you're running the solid beam mounts, and that's what I am doing. So enough talking. You guys are probably sitting here looking at the still picture thinking, Jesus Christ, dude, do something, shut the hell up. Alright, so anyway, so I got this lower bolt loose, but I cannot get it out. It's hitting the spare tire well. So there's the wrench side. I cut that down earlier so I could get in to this top bolt. And like I mentioned earlier, when you got the stock rubber bushings, or at least the poly bushings, and you loosen this off the bottom of the car, the whole diff will drop down, and usually it drops enough to clear away from this spare tire well. And unfortunately, mine doesn't do that. So let's see if I can get this loose enough that I can get it out by hand. So I don't know if I mentioned in any of my previous videos, but I also I've got a 1985 XR solid roof car. That's in my storage area right now. And I was kind of hoping to work on that this winter, maybe get that on the road, but I think I'm going to concentrate on getting my Scorpio back on the road. My Scorpio, like I said, it's a 5-speed car, and it runs. When I got it, though, it had no heater core, or the heater core had failed. And when I went to, well, I should say when I pulled the dash all apart to change the heater core, it's a California car, spent its whole life in California, and the plastics in the dash were just a mess. So many broken pieces and tabs and mounting holes. So I basically stripped the dash out of it, and it took me quite a while to find replacement parts, but right now I have to get some of the doors inside the vent system. So that car has an automatic heat and AC system, and the vent doors are controlled by motors. Well, most of the vent doors on that car were broken and twisted, so that's about all I need for that car. I'm trying to get my hands on some vent doors. Well, I'm getting this thing. It's coming. So anyway, so I'm trying to get vent doors, and then I can get the dash all back together. There we go. I can get the dash all back together in that car and get it on the road, and I'll probably do the 2-3 swap next year. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see if I can get this in a spot. Turn this light around here. So as you can see, this design, they went to a round insert. You pull the back plate off and pull the bolts out, and then you can see it's an aluminum insert, and then it's sorry about the light, guys. So it's a round aluminum insert with a rather thin. This is just this bushing. This is the lip on the bushing. It's much. It looks thick, but it's not. It's not that thick. It's an actually thin bushing that goes in the hole there. And so you end up getting enough movement. With my solid beam bushings, this would probably be just fine, because you're not going to get much movement out of the beam. Actually, not going to get any movement out of the beam. So this wouldn't be moving around. So this probably would hold up just fine. But like I said, just by chance I was on one of the forums, and Sheldon had posted that he was working on a solid mount and they'd be available soon. So I kept messaging him. And so here's the new mount. And let's see, SM. There it is. Sheldon MarraSport. Actually, not, yeah. Okay, yeah, the way you read it, it's MS, so MarraSport. But yeah, nice piece here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. He's got some tabs for it to fit together, and then he's welded it out. So simple piece, but should be effective. All right, so let's get that up in there. He said, I think I hit him up the night before he actually posted these, and I might have been one of the first ones to buy one of these, but he said he hadn't actually fit one on a car, and he wanted to hear if there were going to be any issues. But just by eyeing everything, it looks like we're going to be okay. So let's see. All right, he included 2 Allen bolts for the back here. Yeah, geez, this is a lot easier to work in here compared to that MC squared mount. Yeah, where's... Oh, there it is. Okay, here's the other bolt for the back. I still need to finish my walk around on this thing. I don't think I got under here and showed everybody what I've done under here. Jesus, warm weathers. Liquefying the grease in my drive shafts. Looks like oil now. I probably mentioned it in one of the other videos, but I got this car out of Washington State. It was up in the Seattle area. I believe it spent its whole life up there. And other than black and green mold all over the place in the door jambs, and other than that, the car's solid, rust-free car. I had my buddy a number of years ago when I started building it. We put in the Godfrey, I don't know if you want to call them subframe connectors on this car. But I got those from David Godfrey years ago, and I got those welded in. I've got a drive shaft loop that I tied into the back end of the Godfrey subframe connectors. And actually, I got lucky because there was enough room in the hoop that I'm able to run the exhaust. Let's see, I'm able to run the exhaust over? I can't remember now. Oh, yeah, I think over the right above the drive shaft. So it's pretty clean install with the exhaust. Let's get these tightened down. Nope, it's bigger. Alright, sorry guys. I'm talking away in the damn camera. I forgot this camera that I'm using. It'll only do a 30-minute video. So here I am talking away. Damn thing wasn't even recording. But anyways, I just went and checked the video and see where I ended. So it looked like it ended right before I got this thing bolted down. So let me flip this back around. Make sure you guys can see. I got the new mount bolted in there. Let me get the light turned back around. There we go. You can see a little bit better now. Yeah, so there we go. No problems. Fits perfectly. No issues with the bolts. No clearance issues. Nice, simple, solid rear diff. Some guys say you shouldn't run solid rear beam mounts on a street car. I don't know. Yeah, I might get this thing on the road and absolutely hate it. Who knows? I got to get out there and try it. But I figured since I did the solid beam mounts up front, the aluminum They actually just look like the bushings, only they're made out of solid aluminum. So yeah, solid aluminum bushings up front. Actually, you can see the silver right there. That's one of them sticking out. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so there's the solid. That's the solid beam mount right there. So I got those in the front, and now I've got this solid mount in the rear. We'll give it a shot. You know, I know I know this thing's not going to be a damn Cadillac. It's got pretty stiff springs. It's got Coney struts up front that I had turned into coilovers. I got Coney adjustable shocks in the back. Pretty stiff lowered springs front and rear. So I know this thing's not going to be a damn Cadillac, but we'll give it a shot. If I don't like it, I'll swap them back out. You know, sometimes you just gotta try things. You know, you get all these naysayers on the internet. Flip this back around so you guys aren't just looking at the mount all the time. But you know, you get these naysayers on the internet. Oh, you can't run that. You can't do that. You know, everybody has their own preferences. I'm not expecting this thing to ride like a Cadillac, like I just said, but I'm sure it'll be rough and harsh. And if I hate it, I can't handle it, and we'll swap it out. We'll try something different. So I mean, isn't that what's supposed to be? Hot rodding supposed to be about? So, all right, let me shut these lights off, and we'll get out from underneath the car here. I'll clean these tools up tomorrow. Let's see, it's gonna go dark for a minute, but I'll climb out from underneath the car. There we go. Okay, let's get out from underneath here. Oh, I think you guys did miss me climbing out earlier, and I had mentioned, I think you 50-year-olds can attest. You get up there in age, and it's not fun climbing underneath cars like it is when you're 20 and 30. I need a bigger garage and a lift, and who knows if that'll ever happen. Okay, so a little bit of update on what's going on, what I've been up to. We got the rear diff mount changed out, and like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna get started on this car again. I'm motivated. I'm interested to get this thing on the road this year before winter hits. Probably what we'll work on next. Let's see. So obviously we got to get under the hood. Need to get the head back on it. We need to get the exhaust manifold on, or excuse me, the header on it. Figure out the downpipe. So now what I did, and this is something I think about it all the time. I'm not quite sure why. You know, I'm a Ford turbo guy, and so I'm familiar with the 5-bolt outlet on the turbos. That was the standard outlet setup on the Ford turbos. This is a Garrett GTX Gen 2 3076R. I could have just bought a V-band outlet. I don't know why I did this. Probably because I already had, and I got it over here on the floor. This is one of the things I was talking to myself earlier. I thought I was recording. So this is the outlet plate, or the plate that you can buy that bolts to the back of the turbo, and that's how you can start your downpipe. So what I did is I just ordered one of these with a short pipe welded onto it with a V-band flange. I've got that on the way. So that'll allow me to rotate the downpipe and hopefully get it figured out and get something fitted in there. And then after that, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I got to figure out the damn alternator mount. Let me throw that back under there. Mug. Anyways, so basically where I'm at on the engine, I need to, like I said, need to get under here, get things bolted back in, get stuff figured out, get that fitted. I need to run power to my electric power steering pump. I think there's just a couple of things. I was doing a firewall plug. I need to finish that up. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. Up there I've got a double thick radiator. So there's a gentleman by the name of Mike Euler. He owns Merkur Depot in Ohio, and he's the one that's had these short aluminum radiators available. And a couple years ago, for whatever reason, he decided to do a limited run of these double thick. And then I've got the Mishimoto radiator fan set up. It's a dual fan with a mounting plate, shield essentially. I'm trying to remember if those were one of the Mazda cars. I can't remember, but I saw some posts online that guys said that those work well. So I got to pull this radiator out. We'll get that radiator fitted. We'll get the fans in. So that's another project I got to get done under here. The brakes. I got to get the rear brakes mounted up, get the lines hooked up. I didn't make any progress on that earlier because when I first got the kit from Tim, the brake lines were hitting the inside of the wheels. So I sent the lines back. He did a 45 fitting on the end of the line, and I think we also did a 45 or 90 degree fitting come out of the caliper. So that should be taken care of now. There shouldn't be any issues with mounting the brake lines. So we'll get the brakes on it. We'll get the lines all hooked up. We'll get the system filled and bled. One of the things I was mentioning earlier when I thought I was still recording, I did the brake update on my son's car. I've had this tool for years and finally decided to pull it out and use it on my son's car. And I tell you what, what a lifesaver. You can do brakes by yourself. You don't have to have somebody in the car bumping the pedal. You could essentially do a good enough job with this and have a solid pedal. You put some vacuum on this. I started in the right rear corner. You put some vacuum on this, and it took about 5 minutes to pull fluid through all the lines to the right rear corner of the car. And then I just went left rear, front right, and then left right to finally finish up the system. And sorry, I'm stuttering. Jeez, get so excited. But anyways, great tool. It made doing the brakes on that car, bleeding the system, so easy. And this system here on my 87 is completely dry, so I'm definitely going to need to use that. It just makes it so much easier to pull the fluid through. I don't know why I've never used the damn thing. I've had it sitting in my toolbox for years. So anyways, I'm rambling on about the brakes. So let's see. You know what? Other than putting the interior together, popping the dash back in it, and all the wiring in here is done. I got the Pi dash. I need to throw my fuel gauge in here, pull that voltmeter up, put my fuel gauge in, and then just put the dash back together, play music on my stereo. I'm so far from being monetized, I don't give a shit about music playing in the background. But anyways, I just need to put this, oh, that was another thing. I got, so you can see it back there, I've got an aluminum heater core with AN fittings on it. So that I do need to get swapped out. That's another job I got to do. So get the engine back together, bolt the head on, get the header on, get the downpipe figured out, get the radiator swapped out, run power to my electric power steering pump, change out the heater core, put the dash back in it, get the rear brakes mounted, lines hooked up, system filled and bled. Let's see, tomorrow I'll get back under there and I'll get the gas tank straps back on and get the shield back in place. We'll get all that bolted back together. The rest of the exhaust is done. I just got to figure out that downpipe. Do a quick walk around here and see if I think of anything else I got to do on this thing. Yeah, really, that's going to be essentially about it. And this thing should be ready to fire up. And my goal is to get it out on the roads before winter hits this year. So let's see, we're July 21st. August is going to be hot. September here is usually are really nice. October it starts cooling off. Last year that's the other thing I forgot to mention earlier about my son's car. It's got a full 3-inch exhaust. I bought a kit and built that, welded it out. I'm not the greatest welder. I took a welding class at the school, and I've got a little Miller welder. So anyway, I think we got hit with a huge storm last November 8th, and on the 7th, I was underneath that car finishing up. Jeez, I'm holding the camera up in my face again. November 7th last year, I was under the car finishing up the exhaust. Next day, we got hit with that storm, and that was essentially the last time I was able to work on the car because it had to sit outside all winter. So, back to what I was saying. So we got, let's see, we're at the end of July. We've got August, September, and October. So I essentially have 90 days to try and get 90 days to get those quads done back together. Like I say, I don't think I'm going to have time to do anything with the jet skis this year. I would really like, that one actually has a 2.3 block in it right now. Just got to get a head on it and everything obviously bolted to the engine and figure wiring. Somebody cut the wiring harness under the hood, so I got to figure out wiring on that one. Get all that work done on this thing, get it dropped down, rolled out of here and fired up and driving. Couple things probably with that. The other bikes I showed you earlier, the KX80, KX250, YZ100. Man, I got a lot to do in 90 days. Because once winter hits, if we get a lot of snow again this year, it's just, working outside's done. That's over with. So, okay, well, I'm not going to keep rambling here. Let you guys go, but I'm going to try and get videos back online regularly. Record the progress on this car. And you know what I'll do? Like I mentioned earlier, I need to finish a walk around on this 87 here. There's a couple more things I wanted to show you. I had one guy asking me about the driveline, what I did for that, so I can show you that. I'll go out, maybe tomorrow I'll go out and I'll do a walk around in my son's car. We'll go over that one and show you what I've done there. But other than that, yeah, I'll see if I can't get the camera out a little bit more often, get some videos online. I got to splice these two videos together because I'm an idiot and was talking away in 30 minutes. Boy, 30 minutes went by before I knew it, and the damn thing shut off on me. That's how long it's been that I've done any videos. I forgot this thing only records for 30 minutes. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll do my best to get some more videos online. We'll keep geez, brain fart. We'll keep going on that one and recording the progress. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll keep recording the process on that one, and we'll get some of these. I'll pull the camera out for some of these other projects I'm working on. Like I said, I can even just throw it on the tripod when I'm finishing up this thing. But this was split apart. I had to let's see. So I had to pull this one apart because the shifter shaft was bent. So I had the cases split. Got it all back together. So we'll get that one buttoned up. I got the cylinder just sitting on there. There's actually not even a piston in it yet. I have to get the piston mounted in there. But well, like I say, I'll get the camera out more and we'll just get some of these things recorded. Videos aren't going to be anything fancy because I just don't have a lot of time to do editing. So hope you guys enjoy. Drop some comments. I do appreciate the comments, and even though I haven't dropped any videos, I've done my best to answer everybody that's commented on the videos. I enjoy hearing from the guys. Really interesting to hear the guys that had Merkurs years ago, and obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, you get some guys that regret selling them. Other guys that have stock cars that are interested to see what I'm doing with mine. Okay, well, we'll get offline here, quit rattling on. So thanks again, guys. Take care.